Okay, beautiful line. And it has some really interesting technique in the right hand. It has these little mini two-string sweeps, which aren't typically the kind of sweeps that we encounter on the guitar. It's more of a pianistic kind of sound. And obviously, it's not called sweeping on the piano. You know, it's very specifically the technique that you're doing in the right hand of the guitar. That's where sweeping, the term, comes from. But it's cool to kind of try to translate some of those sweep kind of effects on the guitar, and you know, in the sense of how it sounds in the piano. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago, actually, with the Barry Harris episode as well. So we're doing this over Autumn Leaves. It's the 2-5-1 to B flat major, and we're going to start up in our 15th position. So I'm starting with my pinky on F on the second string, and then I just go down a half step to E with my ring finger, and then my middle finger goes to E flat. And then my pointer finger plays G on the first string. So that's the part right before the sweeps. So we go. So that's right on beat 1. And if we're looking at those notes in relation to C minor, it's the 4, the natural 3, and the flat 3. So he's doing chromatic down from the 4 to the flat 3. And then when he hits the G, that's the 5th, right? So after that, we have that sweeping technique that I was talking about. So this is a little bit awkward. It doesn't translate the greatest to the guitar, but it is possible, and it does sound really cool, so I think it's worth it. So we go. So we're on that G note, and we're actually going to play the G again. We're going to do an upstroke, and then our middle finger is going to go back to E flat on the second string. And this is like that two-note sweep I was talking about. It's kind of hard to do it on its own. And then where it kind of makes it easier is the last note. After you do those two sweeps on the G and the E flat, then you do a downstroke and play D on the second string with your pointer finger. So I would recommend just taking those 3 notes and just trying to get comfortable with that pattern. And then after that, we go back to G on the first string. Okay. So I'm just kind of, if you notice, I'm kind of like rolling my pointer finger across. And now right here, the fingering is kind of specific. Initially I was just keeping my pointer finger here and just lowering it, but actually I noticed it's probably a little easier if you set it now in 14th position. So put your middle finger on the G now. So, and then you do the same pattern again. But now it's 15 on the first string and then 15 on the second string. You do the 2 upstrokes and then a downstroke. And when you do the downstroke, you're playing C sharp with the pointer finger. So now we have. Okay. And then we complete the sweeping pattern like this. So what we're doing right there is our middle finger goes back to G on the first string, and we do the upstroke on that, and then upstroke on the C sharp on the second string. And then slide it down a half step to C, and that's when you do the downstroke in the right hand. And then you actually play that C note twice, so I go down, up. So now we have. Okay, and now theory-wise, what's going on there? Like we said, we have that chromatic from the 4 down to the flatted third on the minor chord. So once we hit that G note, that is the F7 chord. So the G is like the 9, and you notice everything keeps going back to that note, right? It's basically this descending thing on the second string. Right, if you look at the notes we're sweeping around, we keep descending, right? E flat, D, D flat, C, and we're keeping that G on top, so. Then we go like this. Now this is cool because the G against the F chord is the 9, right? And then the D note is the 13, and we go. When we lower to half step, now it turns into the flat 13, or sharp 5, whatever you prefer to call it. So we're taking 2 notes that are more kind of stable, dominant sounds, and then we're lowering the 13 down, and now it gives us this sound, right? So we still have that 9 on top, but now we have the flat 13 underneath, which gives it a little bit more tension. So that's a really good note that you can kind of alternate between if you want to build more tension on a dominant 7 chord. Take the 13 and then lower it a half step. You've probably heard tons of lines, like all that stuff. all of that sound, right? Very specific kind of sound that we hear a lot in bebop. So, and then when we lower it again to C, now it's just on the natural 5. So we're basically outlining this kind of sound, right? Natural 9, natural 13, natural 9, flat 13, and then just regular natural 9 with the 5, right? So really cool sound. So, and then after that, it resolves to the B flat major, and he just goes, this is the easy part. So then we put our pointer finger on F on the first string, ring finger goes to D, pointer finger to C, ring finger on B, and then middle finger on A. So against B flat major, that's the 5, the 3, the 9, the root, and the 7. So ends really nicely. And technically, that last note, that A note, it would normally go to E flat major because we're playing Autumn Leaves, but I just, did it just so it went over a regular 2-5-1 without that 4 chord afterwards. So the entire line really slow. A little faster. Okay, so a lot of good stuff going on there. It's a cool little technique that you can try to start utilizing in your playing if you want to get more of that sweepy, sort of pianistic kind of sound. It's a really cool technique, and some really great insight into that thing that he's doing over the dominant chord, where he's starting on the 13 and he just keeps gradually lowering it to flat 13 and 5 while keeping the 9 consistent on the top as like a pivot note. So really great line. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you guys at the next episode. Take care.